Today, I'm going to unbox the brand new 2022 M2 MacBook Air. What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here. I am very excited about checking this out. This is the new MacBook Air M2 2022 model. It just came. This is one of the first deliveries for the average low-end consumer like me. The nobody consumer, you know, all those big YouTubers got them for free from Apple early, but not me. I actually ordered this on pre-order day at the launch time, and it just came now. So it's the end of July. They said that it would be available in July, so it's believable because they did it. Just barely, mind you, just barely. So I want to show you this box because, you know, there's a lot of people that are sharing specs on it already. But what I wanted to do was see what it actually looks like. We'll take a close look at that. And I also want to check out what the black looks like. All right. So first of all, I have left this completely unadulterated. It is saran wrapped here, or shrink wrapped, and there's a little tab here, so you will open it by pulling this. Oh, broke off, but that gives me enough opening here to pull away the plastic. Oh. And here's the box. Beautiful matte finish, white. It says MacBook Air there. Apple logos on the side and a very minimalist profile design, and then you have all of your information here. I will say this is basically the entry-level version. The only thing I really optioned up here was I made one step up in the hard drive space, the SSD, from I think 256 gig to 512 gig. Just gives me a little more breathing room when you start downloading apps and videos and stuff like that. So here it is. It is actually wrapped in usually plastic, but this is like a tissue paper and a little bit different. Ooh. All right, I can already see a little bit of the color peeking through there, and I can tell you that it is not black. All right, so I'm just going to put this down a second. Oh, bury the lead. And I'm just going to pick this up because what you get here is your little instruction booklet. You get your manuals, maybe even some Apple stickers. Oh yeah, stickers are in there. They're black now. They used to be white back in the day. The other thing that you can do here is you can upgrade the charging brick. And I actually did that. This is the middle of the charging bricks. So they have a standard charging brick, which is one plug. And then they have this one, which is a $20 upgrade, I believe. And what I like about it is it's pretty small. Flip out prongs right there. So it's actually pretty small for one of the charging blocks. I can pull this off, and actually has a couple little indentations. So when you are pulling this out of the socket, you should be able to grab it because it's all glossy plastic. But then down here, you have two USB-C ports. Now, the upgrade to this is a 60-watt charger, which I think will charge the laptop in like 30 or 40 minutes. You know, that's actually pretty crazy. But it only had one USB-C charger, Thunderbolt, I think they call it there. So I wanted two because now I can charge my iPhone or other accessories, right? And if you want, I think it is cheaper to go on something like Amazon and pick up a 60 or 70-watt charging block that has two USB-C ports, and it's still probably cheaper than the Apple one. All right, now I also want to show you here that we get this little charging cable, and this is brand new for the new MacBook Air. I mean, this is maybe something that is kind of reminiscent of the past. This is a nylon wrapped cord here, and you can see we have Thunderbolt on this side, and then we have the MagSafe connector. It actually looks a lot like the original MagSafe connectors, except smaller. It's just smaller. It's very small. I mean, it's like half the size of a postage stamp. And so you can see here that we get this in the black as well. I think they call it midnight, but you might be able to see there that it's not really black. In fact, this cord is kind of color matched to it, and it really screams like a blue here, like a dusty blue. And the USB-C plug here is white. So that will go in here, and then you have MagSafe on your laptop, which I actually really like. Looks like we have a little LED light right there. I will also say that what that does is it opens up the Thunderbolt ports for something else. All right, so pulling off the plastic here. Oh, I just want to pull off my shirt too, if we're undressing everything. All right, so here it is, and it's beautiful like every other Apple product. And in midnight here, what you might be able to see is it has just a little bit of iridescence to it. So I'm going to give you a close look at the color, but before we get into that, I want to show you the form factor. From the top, I think you would be hard-pressed to say that this is any different than any other MacBook Air that's come before it. In fact, I think from a footprint standpoint, it's pretty much the same size. What I will say is that the edges here are flat. So the top now is much more flat. Even though the old MacBook Air came to a point, even the top had a little bit of like a rolled edge, you know, just a little bit of a sloping edge. This is much more flat, much more traditional laptop, I would say. Now, if we look on the side here, you can see it is flat from front to back here. So no descending to a point or anything like that. I actually like this a lot. I thought putting everything in a wedge shape was kind of unnecessary, especially when this is so thin. We even have a little opening now because we don't come to that point where you can stick your finger in here, your fingernail. Much more generous than the old opening. In fact, if I put my fingernail in there, I kind of wonder if I can open up the top. Yep, still opens under its own weight. All right, let's not get there yet. Now I want to show you the bottom here because this now is flat too. We don't have any kind of that rolled edge. We just have like this rounded edge right there, so perfectly flat. But what we do have now are rubberized feet, and I feel like they are more pronounced. They actually have a little bit of a raised edge here, so you can see the aluminum raises up. In the old ones, they were really just kind of a round rubber foot, and these are much more flat, so I actually like these a lot better. And they should be, I won't say like super grippy, but they should provide enough grip to keep your laptop secure on an airplane tray table, a desk, a work table, those types of things. A little insulation as well. But it is actually kind of like a millimeter, 2 millimeters high. So this will be off the deck just a little bit. All right, so let's pull it around here. And like I said, the same kind of resistance to weight ratio stays on the MacBook Air, because if I open this up, I'm not holding down the bottom. It's heavy enough that when I open the lid, the base stays in place. Now, as you can see, just like all the other MacBooks, as soon as you open them, they go into setup. Now, this screen is pretty awesome. Take a look at the notch up at the top. So that is new. And actually what I think is that the space, the screen space that's right here, this usable space, is actually additional space over the old MacBooks. So they would just kind of drop this down and you would get all this, and you would get everything below the notch as normal screen. But this is actually bonus space now. So all your icons and all that stuff can go up there. And the screen, so far, looks beautiful, and much smaller bezels all the way around. So, just a more efficient package overall, and I like that. Okay, now if we go down here, we still have the Fingerprint Reader, which I absolutely love. I actually upgraded my desktop Mac to the keyboard with the Fingerprint Reader. It just saves me so much time mistyping a password or something like that and wasting time. I can put my finger there and log right back in. And the trackpad here, I don't know if it's dimensionally any different, but it certainly feels like larger to me. So that's really nice too. Now, let's go ahead and take a close look at the color, because that's something I was really wondering about, and I bet you are too. All right, now what I do want to do here is give you a relatively close look at the color, because this is what I have been trying to figure out. So many people have kind of talked about it, but I really want to show it to you and compare it to some other things. So this is the midnight color, the hottest, newest color that Apple is offering, and everyone just kind of refers to it as black. Now, I will say that the keyboard is definitely clearly black. It's kind of your standard MacBook keyboard. It seems very nice. I've been typing on it, setting this bad boy up. But you can see there, the keys are distinctly different from the color of the aluminum. And they call this midnight, but it definitely has like a bit of shimmering. I mean, and I would say like an iridescence, almost blue. What it reminds me of a lot is the iPhone 5 that was in blue. I think they called it blue, but maybe it was black. And that's what it reminds me of. It just has that look. Now, what I want to do here is I'm going to close this up because the material is the same everywhere. It's a little hard to see. But I do have this. This is an iPhone charger, and it's kind of your standard matte black plastic that you find in all sorts of cheap accessories, you know, charging plugs, headphones, microphone casings, all that stuff. And I want to bring this up here and put this right on top of it so that you can see what the difference is. You would in no way confuse this for black plastic. I mean, if I were just using this by itself, you'd say, oh, it's a black MacBook. But put this on there and you can see it definitely is brighter, bluer, more iridescent, a little bit more of a reflectivity to it. You know, this is just black. I've got this antenna, and you can see this is a black plastic, very different, you know, right? I mean, just looks blue. I mean, it looks black by itself, but put it next to something black and it looks blue. That's what it looks like to me. So, you know, if I put this here, just like that, this is actually kind of a blue titanium, and you can see it's actually a closer match than the black here, but obviously some pretty different shades. If I take a smartphone, you know, kind of your standard smartphone screen, and lay it on top here, you can see obviously highly reflective, mirror-like, but so much brighter, so much bluer. So what does that mean? It means that midnight is like a starry blue night sky. And do I love the black? You bet I do, man. Or the midnight. It's more blue. I love the midnight. It's a really cool new option. I've always had the space gray. I like the darker colors. It's a little more subtle. It's not super bright. Doesn't scream, look at me, which is what I scream when I'm actually just sitting in a Starbucks for more than a few minutes and no one actually looks at me. Look at me! Every 4 or 5 minutes I yell it. But the laptop doesn't yell it and scream it, and I like that. But it just has a little bit of spice, a little bit of pizzazz, a little bit of personality, and it's really, really subtle. So I like it. That's what I really wanted to show you, this midnight color, because I feel like it's actually hard to represent on camera and in description, but I would call it, you know, a dark, dark navy blue with a little bit of iridescence. You know, that anodized look on that aluminum really is striking, in my opinion, and I think maybe the best looking MacBook yet. So if you want to pick up the new MacBook Air M2, it's supposed to be very good, speedy, better screen, better battery life, with a MagSafe port right there. And I will tell you that these Thunderbolt ports do allow you to charge it. You can certainly charge it through those as well, so you don't have to have your MagSafe cable. If you forget that in a pinch, you can charge it off of any USB-C cable. So I really like this. If you want to pick this up, I'll put a link to the new 2022 MacBook Air M2 in the description below. Peter Von Panda, out.
We can discover more and explore so much deeper. We can live better than ever thanks to Peter Von Panda. Peter Von Panda.
This is the new